So hello and welcome to another episode of Ask the Committee, our Sutton Coldfield Chamber campaign, where we invite local businesses on our executive committee to give businesses, members, non-members, people across Greater Birmingham some advice on key issues moving forward. Today we have Joanna Drinkwater. Good morning, Joanna. I hope you're all right.
Morning, Chris. I'm very well, thank you. Hope you're well too.
Yes, very well, very well. So Joanna is the MD of Grant McKnight Accountants, based in Mere Green, a really sort of key supporter of local businesses in Sutton Coldfield and across Greater Birmingham. And Joanna's here today to really talk and sort of highlight three key points in the finance area, hence the accountancy name for businesses to consider currently. So Joanna, we were talking just before pressing record, and one of the areas was the cash flow forecast and that planning and setting budgets for the new year ahead, whenever that your financial year may start. So Joanna, just give us a bit of an insight into what your thoughts are on that area and the tips and advice you have there.
Absolutely, Chris. So one key area that I'm advising my clients, and I'm obviously practicing that myself in my own firm, is cash flow forecasts. Planning and budgets is key to help you plan the next financial year ahead. And for me, I'm also looking to the next 5 years. So with cash flow forecasts, you don't have to approach an accountant and have a big complicated 5-year weekly, monthly spreadsheet. With a cash flow forecast, if you can just understand what your business's outgoings and projected income and turnover is for the next month, and then break that down into the next 12 months, then you can then look roughly where your gaps may lie. So especially as we're coming out of coronavirus support, a lot of businesses now are having to perhaps consider payroll because they might have been dependent on the furlough scheme, for example. So with cash flow forecasting, what I do is, once you can establish what your business's rough plan is, then each month you can revisit that cash flow forecast, and that should help you set your budget for the following month. Now, it's not always that once you set your budget, you meet that budget. So don't kind of be disheartened if you set your budget at the beginning of the year and then next month you haven't met it at all. That's what a budget is for. It's just a guide, it's a roadmap. But by setting your cash flow forecast now, you can actually set targets and internal targets for your company, and those are designed to help you get on your path to plan your customers and also your expenditure for the future.
Absolutely, and as a business owner, that's the key, isn't it? Is knowing where you want to be, where you plan to be, where you hope to be, and hopefully you can look back 12 months later and that's exactly where you are. If you're not, it's not necessarily the end of the world. You've got to sort of look at it again on a monthly basis and see. So yes, plan, I'm sure is the key area, and I'm sure makes that a lot easier then for your finance team to then look at how you can move forward, linked to various grants and engagement and other areas as well as support. So sort of going on to that plan side, I suppose the next point was around the coronavirus support or grants and more generally. I suppose again, give us a bit of an insight into that side and how businesses can perhaps work on that support area as well.
Absolutely. So depending on whether your business has received any coronavirus support or not, I'm just going to keep this simple and put it into two business camps: sole traders and small to large limited companies. Now, if you're a sole trader and you have received government support over the last 18 months, and if you're a sole trader, the support specifically you may have received may have been the Self-Employment Income Support Scheme grants. Now, there were 5 grants in total. Now, when you're preparing your tax return and your accounts for the year just gone, so we're talking about the 2021 tax year, you need to make sure that you are correctly disclosing any grant income received. If you don't disclose the grant income correctly, then HMRC will query tax returns. So it's really important that if you have received any self-employment income support scheme grants, that those are accurately disclosed on the tax return for the correct tax year. Now, if you're a small to large limited company, you may have received grants. So any grant income needs to be disclosed in your financial year accounts. Now, HMRC, again, are being quite pedantic about this. So again, with any furlough money that you've received from the Coronavirus Job Retention Scheme, then that also needs to be correctly disclosed in your accounts. So it's just a word of warning to any businesses that have received government support to make sure that you're correctly and accurately accounting for them, whether you're a sole trader or a small to large limited company.
Absolutely. And of course, moving forward, that's over the last 18 months, 2 years, so it could span numerous tax years, etc., etc. So making sure that that's all clear as well is important, I'm sure. So yes, very clear advice there. Thank you, Joanna. That's wonderful. So really moving on to the final point was around sustainability, and of course that that's a really important point as we move through the next 12 months. Give us a bit of an idea about perhaps how small businesses can implement those green climate measures and net zero measures that perhaps may be able to help their business financially.
Absolutely. So following COP26, climate change should be on everybody's agenda. Obviously, with the UK government have set a net zero target for 2050, which seems like it's a long way off. However, large businesses are being forced at the moment to provide those disclosures in their financial statements. So large companies have to think about sustainability reporting. Now, small businesses aren't forced to report on sustainability just yet, but once that comes into effect a few years down the line, it's good for small businesses to be prepared and also to kind of help along with the environmental impact. So to get your business ready, a few simple ideas. Just look at, for example, in my business, we're looking at paper wastage, we're looking at water usage and electricity usage. So small things like making sure that your lights, the plugs are turned off at the end of the day, and also just making sure that when you're sourcing your energy provider, you're looking for energy providers that are perhaps more green than others. Another key thing in my business is paper. So we're a paperless company, but you still receive letters from HMRC sometimes through the door. So how we recycle paper and how we use or don't use plastics as well in the office. So it's small steps now that you can take towards getting ready for that net zero once it comes. Another thing that we're doing in our business is we're just kind of evaluating how people travel to the office as well. Is there really a need for everybody in the office to get in their own car, when actually, if you take a step back and have a look where people live, car sharing is a big thing that we're doing, and cycle to work schemes. There are tax incentives for company cars that are fully electric and also cycle to work schemes. So it's making use of what small businesses can do to help implement small climate change following the COP26.
Absolutely, and as you say, that grants those funding opportunities, tax reliefs, are well worth looking at, and will not only help you as a business, but also help your employees in their spreadsheets, in their personal lives, in terms of travel costs and all that sort of area. So very, very great points, and I suppose on that, I suppose contacting your accountant, but looking into the GBS LEP and various business support areas, the Chamber as well, of course, and our growth hubs and various areas are well worth picking up on that. So thank you, Joanna. 3 great points. I really appreciate your time today and that advice around finance. So this is a number in a series of interviews and articles we're putting out as part of the Sutton Coldfield Chamber Executive Committee. So hope that was enjoyable. Joanna, absolute pleasure. Thanks so much, and we'll speak again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Take care.